Hello everybody, welcome back to another movie review vlog. Yes, it certainly has been a while, but I am back. And this time around, I am taking a look at Shazam. And to be honest with you, it was actually quite wholesome and fun. Yeah, I really don't say that very often, especially when it comes to a superhero movie, but yeah, I had one heck of a time watching this movie. Keep in mind that I usually don't have much experience or knowledge when it comes to the Shazam or Captain Marvel type superhero history, but I do know bits and pieces about it. And going into this movie, kind of a little confused and perplexed, I can tell you that it wasn't so confusing going throughout this entire movie. Everything was quite entertaining for the most part. I mean, in a way that this movie mostly focuses on the children's aspect of what would happen when kids and teenagers get superpowers, which in a small way, that is pretty much like every little kid's fantasy growing up with comic books and superhero television shows and movies. Everybody has that fantasy when they want to have the unlimited strength to fly across the seas and also beat some bad guys up as well. And sure enough, this pretty much plays out very well in spades. I've enjoyed a lot of the child actors in here, as well as the grown-up actors as well, especially from Zachary Levi, who plays Captain Marvel. Now, at first, I had my doubts with Zachary Levi, mostly because I had a very, very bad experience with him, mostly watching the entire Chuck series. But the thing about Zachary Levi is that you kind of can tolerate him in very small portions when he comes and goes, but if you watch him in sections like every other time or all the time, he tends to get very annoying. However, in this movie, he usually does tend to come and go from his adult form of Billy Batson, and I gotta say though, it's actually pretty good to see him acting like a grown-up with a mind and the personality of a small kid. And speaking of kids, a lot of the children in here did quite well as well. Especially a lot of the foster kids, who played up a whole lot of the secrets, the sibling rivalries, and also the promises, as well as the nerdy superhero aspects as well. Although I will have to say I had one little gripe with one character in particular, and that would have to be probably the Asian kid. I really forgot his name, but he acted a little too stereotypical for the role, playing video games, having the big glasses, as well as knowing a little too much about computers because of his ethnicity. I don't know what was going on with that department, but I was just like, okay then. Now, some of the more weaker aspects about this movie is that they did show off some of the Shazam mythology of the comic book character, but they didn't show off a whole lot. Sure, you did get the Grandmaster himself, but at the same time, you didn't get a whole lot of knowledge or tutoring. Not to mention that there was also this villain in here, played by Mark Strong, who did okay for the most part, playing your very stereotypical villain, being bald, white, with the scar of a glowing eye, and that sort of thing, along with his generic monsters that represent like the sins of evil or whatever it was, which was pretty straightforward if you ask me, but there wasn't really much depth into his character. Although he did play along as the generic bad guy role when the kids pretty much played him off as the generic bad guy. And the way they also presented Billy Batson's secret identity on how they deduced it was pretty, straightforward and not so bad. Another thing I enjoyed in here was also the humor. The comedy was also quite well done, as well as a lot of the atmosphere and the way they broadened the horizons around the whole area of Fawcett City in Philadelphia. Not to mention a lot of the Shazam Easter eggs sprinkled all across the movie, which I thought they did quite well. And the end credits, was okay, mostly just building up to something a whole lot bigger later on down the road. And judging by the huge amount of success that this movie has received, making this the second or third most successful DC movie that they have right now, I'm actually looking forward to the sequel that comes out somewhere down the road when they have Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as Black Adam. Now that is something that's really going to be worth something. But until then, this movie was quite enjoyable. It did have plenty of flaws, but at the same time, you won't be disappointed when you watch this movie. And it's also a pretty good, straightforward origin story, and the montage scenes on how the kid tries to work out his superpowers and of what he has and what he does not have in regards to powers was actually quite funny and hilarious and amazing as well. And with that said, I would have to give this movie a solid 4 out of 5 stars. Really good, some flaws here and there between, but you can pretty much easily overlook it. And it's enjoyable also, not just for adults, but also for teenagers and kids as well if they wanted to go see this movie. Nothing dark or grim about this, unlike some of the previous superhero movies that we had in the past, which makes this all the more brighter and more colorful and quite fun. And with that said, this will conclude this segment of the movie review vlog. For any comments on what you guys think, let me know in the comment section below, as well as if you guys have any suggestions for any possible movies for me to review at some point, whether it be in the future, feel free to let me know on Patreon as well for the exclusive price of $1 a month. And with that said, I will see you all next time.